Hey, what is up, guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be going over the top 5 pause 5s of 7.31b. And yeah, I mean, without further ado, I'm not going to lie to you guys, some of the supports I'm a little bit disappointed are still in this list because they were very good in the last patch. However, the majority are new supports that are busted in this patch that weren't necessarily that good last patch. And I'll talk about why and how to play them and so on. And also, I want to tell you guys that I will be making full-length guides for all of the heroes, basically every hero on this list, over on the gameleap website. So I highly recommend you, of course, check that out if you've been struggling to gain rank. You don't know why you can't win your rank games. You feel like nothing's working. I make it very clear what you need to do to actually get past the hurdles that are holding you back. A lot of people just don't know. I am rank 62 now. I can assure you, I know how to gain rank, and I'm going to help you make sure that journey is a lot easier, less painful. You know, Dota's gonna be painful no matter what. Like, it's funny when I said that, I'm like, oh, so Loki's gonna be shitty no matter what. But the gameleap website, for me, it helps to make the game more fun because it gives you ideas. I help motivate you guys, and so go check it out. Sign up down below. All right, coming in at number 5 is a hero I'm actually very fond of right now, and that is Chen. There's honestly so much to talk about Chen, so I kind of have to narrow it down to a couple of things. You might be like, Speed, why is there so much to talk about with Chen? The only major change was that the creeps got, more movement speed, which is notable if you don't know what they did. Every creep you take over when you max it out has 40 bonus movement speed. Previously to this patch, it was 25. That is a 15 movement speed buff. That is very significant. Movement speed is a big deal. Right, 15 is a lot. And on top of that, at level 1, Hand of God heals for a total of 400. Previous, it was 275 burst heal. Now it is 200 burst and then 20 HP regen for 10 seconds. So basically, it's significantly more heal, you just have to pop it earlier. But other than that, what is making Chen so good right now? Because currently on Dota 2 Pro Tracker, this hero has a very staggering 54.1% win rate, an incredibly high number. And I think the main thing is honestly the versatility, besides the fact that honestly his buffs are just straight up good, like the movement speed and heal is huge. It's also the neutral creeps. There are so many neutral creeps and so many powerful neutral creeps in the pool right now. Right, the troll summoner creep, that one in particular, man. The one that summons the skeletons now that like give more damage. It's so crazy how fast you can siege towers. On top of that, in the early game, you can take over one of the mini troll summoners and it has the net, right? It's just a net creep now into the early game. And this can be incredible in the laning stage to set up kills. And then honestly, even like one of the creeps in particular that frankly shocks me is the one with the spear, the small camp creep, I forget the exact name, the one that throws the harpoon at you and poisons you. That poison for 2 seconds reduces healing. If you don't know this, it reduces healing by 75%. You heard that correctly, 75%. That is nearly an AA blast. And you know how hard it is to play against AA blast. So you might be like, okay, what heroes struggle against AA Blast? Because then I can just look at that and take over this creep and then play against those heroes with this creep. Huskar, Morphling gets annihilated, Timber, Death Prophet, Dawnbreaker, like there are so many, Io. These heroes get destroyed by getting auto-attacked once by this creep. And finally, the last thing to mention about Chen that's making him good right now is number 1, you want to max the Q, and number 2, the shard, you can buy it at minute 15 now. What Chen's shard is taking over ancient creeps. Obviously, that's pretty freaking good. At minute 15, you can have an ancient creep. I don't really feel like I have to explain why that's powerful. It's just an ancient creep at minute 15 that is buffed in movement speed and all the other stats that Chen buffs. So a lot of big buffs to Chen. Definitely think this hero is powerful. However, it requires some micro, so I put it in number 5. Coming to number 4, I literally will not harp on this for a long time, I promise. It's Ogre Magi. Just ignite people still. I don't know why they didn't nerf this hero almost at all. I really was hoping they would. They didn't, so you can still spam ignite. And so honestly, I don't have too much to say about Ogre other than the fact that Ignite is still just an extremely good spell. If you don't know what they did to it, instead of being a 15-second cooldown, it is 17 now. So yes, it did get nerfed, but not by some crazy significant amount. You can still just spam by regen in the laning stage as Ogre. Frankly, the Ignite nerf doesn't even really hurt Ogre very much in the lane, as you wouldn't really spam Ignite off cooldown for the most part. So like, yeah, it's just good still. The win rate is still very high. It's easy to play, and it's going to be high impact, basically, no matter what. Coming in at number 3 is a hero that I did suggest for mid, and it's one of my favorite heroes of the patch, and that is Pugna. However, I think this hero is actually an incredible support. Now, it didn't get changed too much, so keep this in mind. The hero didn't get changed much, but I think it was already a really good position 5 in the previous patch, and its win rate on Dota 2 Pro Tracker is actually incredibly high. I will say Pugna is a difficult hero to play. Decrepify is it's a questionable spell. It can grief people very easily, so you have to be very careful when it comes to Decrepify. However, there's a couple main things that make this hero good as a support that you need to abuse if you're now going to pick it. And yes, its win rate is good. Number 1 is the laning stage. Spam your Q, spam autos. This hero has one of the highest attack ranges in the game, good base stats, a good animation, decent attack speed, and really high movement speed. Now, as a result, you can kite to position 4 or 3 as much as you need to. And yes, you do an insane amount of damage solely with right clicks. And I recommend you buy like 2 branches, 2 mangoes, a fairy fire, 6 tangos, a salve. Just load up on stats and regen. Click, 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 click. Just click. Now, in terms of skill build, you might be wondering, what do I go? It depends. I would say almost always I would personally recommend putting 2 points into your Q and then maxing out Decrep. The reason why is Decrep goes down to a 6-second cooldown, Life Drain is a 7-second cooldown, you want to line them up. However, if you feel like you are going to be the guy who's just pushing in the dead lane and you want to scale, which you 100% can do on Pugna 5, you can rush an Aether Lens, even from the 5 roll, it's totally fine, and you're going to be pushing the dead lane, then max your Q, and on a 5-second cooldown, or 6-second cooldown, considering cast times, you can clear waves entirely. It's very powerful, it's very good at clearing the dead lane. And yeah, the other thing is honestly just Nether Ward, nothing crazy to say here. You just chuck it down in fights if it's maxed out, then it does 25% less spell damage. Every hero around it on the enemy team does 25% less spell damage. There's nothing else to say about it, right? There's nothing else to say. Like, it's just that impactful. And another thing that they did, which was really nice for this hero as well, is they made it where you can now decrep people while life draining, which is very, very valuable. It's gonna allow you to finish off kills. If someone's overcommitting on you, you can decrep. If you casted your spells in a weird way where you life drain first just because of the slightly higher cast range and they didn't break Link, you can then decrep after. So this hero receives a couple of nice buffs, Nether Ward being the biggest one, the decrep during life drain being another one, and yeah, I think the hero is incredibly good and the win rate shows. Coming in at number 2 is Undying. I'm a big fan of going drums and tranquils on Undying. You can also mix in a stick, raindrops, clarities, basically a lot of mana regen and early game sustain / HP items to make sure your hero is an absolute menace in the early game. The reason why I love this drums build-up so much is it builds from a belt of strength and a windlace. This is obviously very, very powerful for a hero like Undying, because if you have windlace, stick, raindrops, belt of strength, you are going to be ridiculously tanky, especially when you pop your ult and throw down a tombstone. Obviously, you can heal yourself as well and steal strength. This makes you insanely tanky. On top of that, if you guys didn't know, they changed the damage type on the zombies, which is why this hero's win rate was one of the highest when the patch came out. In 7.31b, they did nerf the damage of the zombies, but as far as I've been told, the zombies still do more damage to heroes than they did in the past. They just do very little damage to creeps. So don't use Tombstone to farm ancient stacks, instead use Tombstone to win team fights. I've even seen some pros throw it down at rune fights if the rune fight looks like it's going to be a committal. In general, I think that's kind of a shit idea, as it sort of griefs the lane if you have a pointed Tombstone and don't have decay, but it is something to keep in mind. And then finally, the last thing I like about Undying is Boots of Bearing. This is a hero that naturally gets kited very easily. The amount you get slowed on Undying and just can't move, and this happens a lot because you run in, right? You pop Flesh Golem and you run in. Because of this fact, having the Boots of Bearing, which naturally builds from your drums and your Tranquil Boots, which you're gonna have anyway, is such an incredibly good build-up. You can spam the drum charges in the early game, and then you buy the Boots of Bearing, you get 8 more charges, and those prevent you from being slowed, which is huge because you're gonna be able to get attacks off as the Undying with the ulti. Such a valuable skill and an item to have in the mid-game especially. And finally, last but not least, the best position 5 of 7.31b. This is a hero that has been doing incredibly well at every single level of pub, and that is Omni Knight. To keep it simple, the hero basically is just better than it has been in the past for a couple of main reasons. Number 1, Heavenly Grace gives 38 strength at level 4. You heard that correct, 38 strength. What a ridiculous number. Literally, I was playing like Ricky, and this guy throws Heavenly Grace on me. I had like 1500 HP on Ricky. This guy Heavenly Graces me, and it almost gives me 50% more HP than I already have. On top of that, it also gives HP regen, so you're insanely tanky. And what really the biggest change for me was about this hero as a support is the fact that when you cast Heavenly Grace on an ally now, it also casts it on yourself. The reason why this is important is in the laning stage, let's say, you know, you're playing with a Tiny and you want to give him some bonus damage by casting Heavenly Grace on him, or you want to heal him. You do that, and it also makes you insanely tanky and gives you the damage and gives you the regen, which you then use to trade, right? Because when you cast a spell on yourself, or any strength hero for that matter, it gives bonus damage, right? It gives bonus damage because it's strength. And so this hero is insanely good in the lane. You just right-click people down. Omni Knight has very good movement speed, right? And yeah, that's honestly about it. Your E is also insanely good. If you have a kill lane, like let's say you're laning with something like an Ursa, you can take Heavenly Grace and the Hammer of Purity, which is now a basic skill. It's a 14% slow that actually does like 100 damage on a 10-second cooldown. It's a very, very powerful spell, right? It does a lot of damage for early on into the game and slows. And for a lane like Ursa Omni, if you W an Ursa, right, you give him bonus strength, and then you slow someone, it just enables the Ursa to pop off, right, to like go insane. And so, yeah, this hero has so much potential right now. And the thing is, it's also flexible. You might be like, oh, sweet, should I only pick Omni Knight when I have a Tiny or a Sven, like a carry that enables using the strength as damage? And the answer is absolutely not. You do not have to pick it only around these heroes. Some of my favorite Omni Knight combos right now is Ricky feels really good because it makes you insanely tanky, so you can just run in and kill people. Leshrac feels incredible, having like 800 HP at minute like 14 on Leshrac, bonus, and then regen is nuts on a hero like Lesh, because Lesh has to run in. So usually Lesh will die like right before killing someone, or he'll get bursted in a lot of cases. This just doesn't happen with Omni Knight, right? You're just going to get 38 more strength, potentially more if you're purging stuff, because that's how it works. If there's things you purge, you give more strength and regen. That's how the spell is set up. It's quite weird, but that's the case. And so yeah, it's just insane, right? Like, you have to think about how crazy this is on a hero like Lesh or Puck or Ricky. Or I played a game where an Omni Knight followed me around and I was playing Pugna. I got arena'd by Amar's, a hero that usually solo kills Pugna. I was completely fine. It wasn't even close. And so yeah, I think this hero is just one of those heroes in pubs that, oh, and there's one main thing I forgot to mention, which is when you Heavenly Grace your Leshrac in the mid game, so he can run around, it casts it on yourself. Very often, people are going to see you. They're going to be like, oh, this Omni Knight has 1200 HP. Kill him. You're going to W your teammate. You're going to have like 2000 health. They're going to try to kill you, but you're going to have 20 HP regen and 2000 health. They're going to run at you, and you're not going to die. And I'm also a massive fan of the shard on Omni Knight whenever you buy it. If you don't know what it is, it just gives you degen aura. A flat 40%. A flat 40%. If a Slark goes on you and he is near you, obviously he's going to get degen, he cannot chase you. It is that good. It's just a flat 40 in a mildly decent radius. So please keep this in mind, how powerful this can be. I think there's just so much potential with Omni Knight as a support right now. The hero is very flexible. It's good with in heroes, strength heroes, agi hero. It's just good. And yeah, that's going to be all for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you're inspired to play some of these heroes. I definitely would personally recommend trying out Chen and Omni. These are two probably my favorite ones. I obviously am a little bit biased towards Pugna as well, as it's like the main hero I'm spamming right now. But yeah, the Chen, if you like a little bit of micro, like a little bit of a challenge, is a great one right now. So much to discover with that hero with all the new neutral creeps. And then Omni Knight is just insane. It feels incredible. But all right, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And I'm out. Peace.
And that's all. But remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below. And I'm out. Peace.